Section 14 of Eugene Onegin by Alexander Pushkin, translated by Henry Spalding. This LibriVox is in the public domain. Recording by Marianne. Canto the 7th, Moscow, Part 2. 22. And my Tatiana now began to understand by slow degrees More clearly, God be praised, the man, whom autocratic fate's decrees Had bid her sigh for without hope, a dangerous, gloomy misanthrope, Being from hell or heaven sent, Angel or fiend malevolent. Which is he? Or an imitation, A bogy conjured up in joke, A Russian in Childe Harold's cloak, Of foreign whims the impersonation, Handbook of fashionable phrase Or parody of modern ways? 23. Has she found out the riddle yet? Has she a fitting phrase selected? But time flies and she doth forget They long at home have her expected. Whither two neighbouring dames have walked And a long time about her talked. What can be done? She is no child, Cries the old dame with anguish filled. Olenka is her junior, see! 'Tis time to marry her, 'tis true, But tell me what am I to do? To all she answers cruelly, I will not wed, and ever weeps And lonely through the forest creeps. 24. Is she in love, quoth one. With whom? Bouyanoff courted, she refused. Petrushkov met the self-same doom. The hussar Pitkin was accused. How the young imp on Tania doted, To captivate her how devoted! I mused, perhaps the matter's squared. Oh yes, my hopes soon disappeared. But, Matushka, to Moscow you should go, The market for a maid, With many vacancies, 'tis said. Alas, my friend, no revenue. Enough to see one winter's end, If not, the money I will lend. 25. The venerable dame opined The counsel good and full of reason. Her money counted, and designed To visit Moscow in the season. Tattiana learns the intelligence. Of her provincial innocence The unaffected traits she now Unto a carping world must show. Her toilet's antiquated style, Her antiquated mode of speech, For Moscow fops and Circes each To mark with a contemptuous smile. Whore! Had she not better stay Deep in the greenwood far away? 26. Arising with the morning's light, Unto the fields she makes her way, And with emotional delight Surveying them, she thus doth say: Ye peaceful valleys all, good bye! Ye well–known mountain summits high, Ye groves whose depths I know so well, Thy beauteous sky above, farewell! Delicious nature, thee I fly, The calm existence which I prize I yield for splendid vanities. Thou too, farewell, my liberty! Whither and wherefore do I speed, And what will destiny concede? 27. Farther Tattiana's walks extend. 'Tis now the hillock, now the rill Their natural attractions lend To stay the maid against her will. She the acquaintances she loves, Her spacious fields and shady groves, Another visit hastes to pay. But summer swiftly fades away, And golden autumn draweth nigh, And pallid nature trembling grieves, The victim decked with golden leaves. Dark clouds before the north wind fly. It blew, it howled, till winter e'en Came forth in all her magic sheen. 28. The snow descends and buries all, Hangs heavy on the oaken boughs, A white and undulating pall O'er hillock and o'er meadow throws. The channel of the river stilled As with eider down is filled. The hoar–frost glitters. All rejoice In mother winter's strange caprice. But Tania's heart is not at ease. Winter's approach she doth not hail, Nor the frost–particles inhale, Nor the first snow of winter seize Her shoulders, breast and face to lave. Alarm the winter's journey gave. 29. The date was fixed though oft postponed, But ultimately doth approach. Examined, mended, Newly found was the old and forgotten coach. Kibitkas 3, the accustomed train, The household property contain. Saucepans and mattresses and chairs, Portmanteaus and preserves in jars, Feather beds, also poultry coops, Basins and jugs. Well, everything To happiness contributing. Behold, beside their dwelling Groups of serfs the farewell wail have given. Nags 18 to the door are driven. 30. These to the coach of state are bound. Breakfast the busy cooks prepare. Baggage is heaped up in a mound. Old women at the coachman swear. A bearded postilion astride A lean and shaggy nag doth ride. Unto the gates the servants fly To bid the gentlefolk good bye. These take their seats. The coach of state Leisurely through the gateway glides. Adieu, thou home where peace abides, Where turmoil cannot penetrate. Shall I behold thee once again ? Tattiana tears cannot restrain. 31. The limits of enlightenment When to enlarge we shall succeed, In course of time, the whole extent Will not 5 centuries exceed By computation. It is like Our roads transformed the eye will strike. Highways all Russia will unite And form a network left and right. Iron bridges we shall gaze Which o'er the waters boldly leap. Mountains we'll level, and through deep Streams excavate subaqueous ways. And Christian folk will, I expect, An inn at every stage erect. 32. But now, what wretched roads one sees. Our bridges long neglected rot. And at the stages bugs and fleas One moment's slumber suffer not. Inns there are none. Pretentious but meagre, with a draughty hut. A bill of fare hangs full in sight And irritates the appetite. Meantime a Cyclops of those parts Before a fire which feebly glows Mends with the Russian hammer's blows The flimsy wares of western marts. With blessings on the ditches and the ruts Of his own fatherland. 33. Yet on a frosty winter day The journey in a sledge doth please. No senseless fashionable lay Glides with a more luxurious ease. For our automedons are fire And our swift troikas never tire. The versed posts catch the vacant eye And like a lassitude flit by. The Larinas unwisely went From apprehension of the cost. By their own horses, not the post. So Tania to her heart's content Could taste the pleasures of the road. 7 days and nights the travellers plod. 36. But they draw near. Before them, lo. White Moscow raises her old spires. Whose countless golden crosses glow As with innumerable fires. Ah, brethren, what was my delight When I yon semicircle bright Of churches, gardens, belfries high Descried before me suddenly. Moscow, how oft in evil days. Condemned to exile dire by fate. On thee I used to meditate. Moscow, how much is in the phrase For every loyal Russian breast. How much is in that word expressed. 35. Lo, compassed by his grove of oaks. Petrovsky Place. Gloomily his recent glory he invokes. Here, drunk with his late victory, Napoleon tarried till it pleased Moscow approach on bended knees. Time-honored Kremlin's keys present. Not so. My Moscow never went To seek him out with bended head. No gifts she bears, no feast proclaims. But lights incendiary flames For the impatient chief instead. From hence engrossed in thought profound He on the conflagration frowned. 36. Adieu, thou witness of our glory. Petrovsky Place, come, astir. Drive on, the city barriers hoary Appear. Along the road of Tver The coach is borne o'er ruts and holes. Past women, sentry boxes, rolls. Past palaces and nunneries. Lamp posts, shops, sledges, families. Boharians, peasants, beds of greens. Boulevards, belfries, milliners, huts, chemists, Cossacks, shopkeepers and fashionable magazines. Balconies, lions' heads on doors. jackdaws in every spire in scores. 37. The weary way still incomplete, an hour passed by, another, till, near Kariton's on a side street, the coach before a house stood still. At an old aunt's they had arrived who had for 4 long years survived an invalid from a lung complaint. A Kalmuck grey, in kaftan rent and spectacles, his knitting stayed and the salon threw open wide, the princess from the sofa cried and the newcomers welcome bade. The 2 old ladies then embraced and exclamations interlaced. 38. Princesse mon ange, Pachette, a line, who would have thought it, as of yore, is it for long? Ma chère cousin, sit down, how funny to be sure, 'tis a scene of romance I vow. Tania, my eldest child, you know. Ah, come, Tattiana, come to me, is it a dream, and can it be? Cousin, remembers Grandison? What, Grandison? Yes, certainly. Oh, I remember, where is he? Here, he resides with Simeon. He called upon me Christmas Eve. His son is married, just conceive. 39. And he, but of him presently. To-morrow, Tania, we will show. What say you to the family? Alas, abroad I cannot go. See, I hardly crawl about. But you must both be quite tired out. Let us go seek a little rest. Ah, I am so weak, my throbbing breast. Oppressive now is happiness, not only sorrow. Ah, my dear, now I am fit for nothing here. In old age life is weariness. Then weeping she sank back distressed and fits of coughing racked her chest. 40. By the sick lady's gaiety and kindness Tania was impressed. But, her own room in memory, the strange apartment her oppressed. Repose her silken curtains fled. She could not sleep in her new bed. The early tinkling of the bells which of approaching labor tells aroused Tattiana from her bed. The maiden at her casement sits as daylight glimmers, darkness flits. But discerns nor wood nor mead. Beneath her lay a strange courtyard, a stable, kitchen, fence appeared. 41. To consanguineous dinners they conduct Tattiana constantly, that grandmothers and grandsires may contemplate her sad reverie. We Russians, friends from distant parts ever receive with kindly hearts and exclamations and good cheers. How Tania grows! Doth it appear long since I held thee at the font, since in these arms thee I did bear, and since I pulled thee by the ear, and I to give thee cakes was wont? Then the old dames in chorus sing, oh, how our years are vanishing. 42. But nothing changed in them is seen. All in the good old style appears. Our dear old aunt, Princess Helene, her cap of tulle still ever wears. Lucera Lvovna paint applies. Amy Petrovna utter lies. Ivan Petrovitch still a gaby. Simon Petrovitch just as shabby. Pelagie Nikolavna has her friend Monsieur Philemoude the same. Her wolf-dog and her husband tame. Still of his club he member was, as deaf and silly doth remain, still eats and drinks enough for twain. 43. Their daughters kiss Tattiana fair. In the beginning, cold and mute, Moscow's young graces at her stare, examine her from head to foot. They deem her somewhat finical, outlandish and provincial. A trifle pale, a trifle lean, but plainer girls they oft have seen. Obedient then to nature's law, with her they did associate, squeeze tiny hands and osculate, her tresses curled in fashion saw, and often whispers would impart a maiden's secrets of the heart. 44. Triumphs, their own or those of friends. Hopes, frolics, dreams and sentiment, their harmless conversation blends with scandal's trivial ornament. Then to reward such confidence her amorous experience with mute appeal to ask them seem. But Tania just as in a dream without participation hears. Their voices naught to her impart And the lone secret of her heart, Her sacred hoard of joy and tears. She buries deep within her breast, Nor aught confides unto the rest. XLV. Tattiana would have gladly heard The converse of the world polite, But in the drawing room all appeared To find in gossip such delight. Speech was so tame and colourless, Their slander e'en was weariness. In their sterility of prattle, Questions and news and tittle tattle, No sense was ever manifest Though by an error and unsought, The languid mind could smile at nought, Heart would not throb albeit in jest. Even amusing fools we miss In thee, thou world of empty bliss. XLVI. In groups official striplings glance Conceitedly on Tania fair, And views amongst themselves advance Unfavourable unto her. But one buffoon unhappy deemed Her the ideal which he dreamed, And leaning 'gainst the portal closed To her an elegy composed. Also one Biezemski, remarking Tattiana by a poor aunt's side, Successfully to please her tried, And an old gent the poet marking By Tania, smoothing his peruke, To ask her name the trouble took. XLVII. But where Melpomene doth rave With lengthened howl and accent loud, And her bespangled robe doth wave Before a cold indifferent crowd, And where Thalia softly dreams And heedless of approval seems, Terpsichore alone among Her sisterhood delights the young. So 'twas with us in former years, In your young days and also mine. Never upon my heroine The jealous dame her lorgnette veers, The connoisseur his glances throws From boxes or from stalls in rows. XLVIII. To the assembly her they bear. There the confusion, pressure, heat, The crash of music, candles' glare And rapid whirl of many feet, The ladies' dresses airy, light, The motley moving mass and bright, Young ladies in a vasty curve To strike the imagination serve. 'Tis there that arrant fops display Their insolence and waistcoats white, And glasses unemployed all night. Thither hussars on leave will stray To clank the spur, delight the fair, And vanish like a bird in air. XLIX. For many a lovely star hath night And Moscow many a beauty fair. Yet clearer shines than every light The moon in that blue atmosphere. And she to whom my lyre would fain, Yet dares not, dedicate its strain, Shines in the female firmament Like a full moon magnificent. Lo ! with what pride celestial Her feet the earth beneath her press, Her heart how full of gentleness, Her glance how wild yet genial. Enough, enough, conclude thy lay, For folly's dues thou hast to pay. L. Noise, laughter, bowing, hurrying mixed, Galop, mazurka, waltzing, see ! A pillar by, two ants betwixt, Tania, observed by nobody, Looks upon all with absent gaze, And hates the world's discordant ways. 'Tis noisome to her there. In thought again her rural life she sought, The hamlet, the poor villagers, The little solitary nook Where shining runs the tiny brook, Her garden and those books of hers, And the lime alley's twilight dim, Where first time she met with him. LI. Thus widely meditation erred, Forgot the world, the noisy ball, Whilst from her countenance ne'er stirred The eyes of a grave general. Both aunts looked knowing as a judge, Each gave Tattiana's arm a nudge And in a whisper did repeat, " Look quickly to your left, my sweet." " The left, why, what on earth is there ?"" No matter, look immediately. There, in that knot of company, Two dressed in uniform appear. Ah, he has gone the other way." " Who ? Is it that stout general, pray ?" LII. Let us congratulations pay To our Tattiana's conquering, And for a time our course delay. That I forget not whom I sing. Let me explain that in my song I celebrate a comrade young And the extent of his caprice. O epic Muse, my powers increase And grant success to labour long. Having a trusty staff bestowed, Grant that I err not on the road. Enough, my pack is now unslung. To classicism I've homage paid Though late, having a beginning made. Canto the 7th.